Welcome back, guys. Today I'll be showing you the top 10 filters on EAFC. So if you're new around here and you need some coins, no matter what budget you're on, I have got you covered. So make sure to subscribe, and remember, if you do subscribe, to send proof over on Instagram and you'll be entered into a giveaway for one of 9 sets of EAFC points or a copy of the game. So make sure to go get that done. And of course, as usual, if you do want some coins in a bit of a quicker way, well, if you guys are fed up of coming against nicks like me and foot champs who use loans and OP cards from day one,
I'm getting really sick of you! Get out now!
Then you need to head over to mitchcactus.com, where not only can you buy the cheapest and most reliable FIFA coins on the EA market, you'll find over 10,000 reviews from people who have used the services and enjoyed them in the past. So make sure to head over to mitchcactus.com and use code RECALL for 5% off. So of course, we're going to try and have a look at most qualities in the game so we get a nice variety of filters. We're going to start off with a pretty simple one. If you go over to La Liga Santander, you want to go over to defender and French, and you're going to find the likes with a minimum of 10,250 of course Koundé, and you've got Mendy there as well. Now both of these have shot down in sort of the recent times. You're looking at a much cheaper price for both of them, but they are still very popular in game, and it does look like their prices are aligning much more than they have before. So we're kind of at a 60k mark for Koundé, kind of like 70k for Mendy, so a little bit more, but not miles above. And of course, Koundé is kind of quite a desirable centre-back, so he's also not a bad one to be picking up on a Sunday as a little investment and selling on kind of throughout the week as that card rises. Obviously, it goes down quite a lot initially when everyone sells off their foot champ squads. Now, looking at this, it does look like 60k is pretty much like the best case scenario for a sale. So EA tax on that would be 1.5, which means if we go to 67 or 57, sorry, we are looking at a good profit. So that 55 would have been absolutely lovely. We're just going to try and find one snipe on every filter before moving on. So that one was a little too fast, but we'll see if we can get a second one. Oh, we've missed the 54, but you can see the availability. The card is definitely getting listed that price. Now for this one, we're not going to have a specific card type in there, but we've got a couple that can come up. We're going to go over to the Saudi League. You're going to go for minimum of 10,250, and we're going to go for French. For this one, you're going to have Benzema. You'll have Benzema's inform. You'll also have Kante, and you're going to have Kante's inform as well. You can see Kante's inform there coming in not miles away, but a little bit more expensive than the other cards. Now you can section this off to get rid of normal Kante, and all you've got to do is set the minimum up as 22k. So you want to do 22,250. So if we go to here, absolutely on the mark. So this one's just going to be Benzema and of course Kante's inform. So Kante's inform is very close to Benzema in value, so it's a nice little filter. Does seem like we're going with a French theme initially for this one, but don't worry, we are going to be using other nations as well. It looks like about 48k initially for these ones. So EA tax is going to be 2.4. So if we go down by 2k, you bring us to there. Then we go down to here, we're making about 600 coins, and here would be 1.6k. For this one, you are mostly going to be seeing Benzema. He is obviously only that price because of the rating of his card rather than the actual ability. Obviously, he's not very usable this year because of the league he's in. Of course, him and Kante do link up quite well together, and I can imagine if he gets any special cards, you'll be absolutely laughing his way into your team, of course, with the likes of Neymar and Kante to pair up with him, but his initial card isn't the best. Now for this next one, we're going to set the maximum to around 300 or 400,000 coins. As you can see, we've got Francesoli and we've also got Forlan. Now Forlan is a lot cheaper. It is going to be a big, basically betting on people making a mistake with this one, but it's a good one to make a decent bit of coinage. So if we pop this to about 170 or 180 or maybe 190, you're going to first see your Forlans there. So you probably want to go down a little bit further, 175 for the snipe. Pretty easy one that you can get a good bit of return on. Obviously with the new Uruguay striker, it's Uruguay forward base hero. You can pop it, well, you can't pop it as striker because obviously it's just centre forwards now. I do think that way of the position modifier change has messed up the way I searched for filters a little bit, but nonetheless, this is still a really nice one that you can get your hands on at the minute and actually make a decent bit of coins off. And of course, triple flat is finally in the mix, so we can start having a look at what direction we want to take to have a look at some of these. So if you have a look at defenders, we can see the likes of, obviously you've got Greenwood there on the very low end, we've got Carucci there, we've got Kimpembe, we've got Greenwood. There's quite a few players, but I feel like defender and French is probably the one to go with this one. You've got two pretty much same club, but you know, you've got the female and the male version, and they're pretty much the same price. So actually right now, both of these are pretty snipeable at 420. EA tax on 420 is going to be, oh, that's a funny number. 10% is 400, 42. It'll be about 20k, so you probably want to go to 390. I do think that's definitely plausible, being that she's currently in packs. Some people will want to shift her quickly. Some people will have lost coins on her or whatever it may be, and they just want to get rid. So it's definitely one where you can get the snipes. Kimpembe is snipeable too. We've had a look at his case as well, and I feel like he's snipeable. It's just one where you really need to actually hit those snipes quickly, because obviously he's a desirable card. It's not going to be one where it's going to be easy to snag a Kimpembe, but you can do it. Now, going back to Centurions, a really easy one for this one is midfielder. So if you have a look, you've got obviously the likes of these guys on the lower end. But if we go over and switch up a little bit, you want to set the minimum to around 131k, and then you want to pop the max to around 220. At this point, you will see Goyoro, you'll see Pedri. There is obviously the likes of De Bruyne up there, but he's a little bit more expensive. Then we head over to Trailblazers, of course, one of the other popular promos. There are a few options here. There wasn't many cards where they kind of wow you. Realistically, on the lower end, I do think a lot of them just went straight to nothing. You can see here at 12k, we can get quite a lot of the cards. The Brazilian option really isn't a route either. What you can do, of course, if you go Premier League and forward, you've got the likes of Son. We've also got the likes of course, if we can find them, Salah. But the other option, there's a couple, is Defender. That's the main one I would use. So Ruben Diaz and Robertson, really easy, 100k there. Or if you just go for Premier League, of course, you've got the likes of Matoma on the bottom end. So he's actually he's not really the bottom end. I thought he would be by now. Yeah, okay. He's gone down to that 100k mark. So if you want to do him and Ruben Diaz, you can do that. You kind of want to get rid of Ward-Prowse for that, but there's options for it. So you've got midfielder is going to give you Ward-Prowse and Matoma. You've got defender is going to give you Robertson and Ruben Diaz. If you can get rid of Ward, you can have Matoma, Robertson and Diaz on one. But I would say actually you just want to do it by price range. A gold team of the week you can literally do as a base filter right now, but there's a few things that you can add to make it a little bit better for you. So a couple filters that we can go through just to rattle through a few and kind of do it all under one group. You've of course got the French League 1, and you can do that with literally just French League 1. You want to go over to France, and as you can see here, we're going to have the likes of Renard. You're going to have Fleury there as well. You've got also, if we go a little bit further, we've got Carucci here as well at 280, so a little bit more expensive. She's kind of a premium left back, but what we can do, speaking of her, is if we pop over to left back and we just go to French gold team of the week, you can see she's the only one. However, if we went over to special, there's of course the likes of Mendy, there's of course the likes of Bombasta, there's a few other cards that meet her there. Then we've got her second card as well, so actually this one is quite a reasonable filter at around the 100k. Bombasta being the kind of bottom end of it, being a hero, but there's a few other options, which is always what we want. Now we're going to head over to base hero, Premier League and midfielder. So with this one, you've got a few. You can obviously level this off at a minimum around like 150, and you're going to be looking at the likes of Ramirez, you're going to be looking at Cole, you're going to have a nice selection of players. But as it is, you've got quite a good few here. Obviously, to set the minimums to kind of go for the higher end, you probably just want to do like a minimum of 300k. But if you just want to go on the bottom end, we can go for this at like literally 40k. You can see here, Royski, Lundberg, both of them absolutely in the mud for pricing. I feel like they need to require a hero for an SBC to make some of these worth it, but you probably want to snipe these like 22, 23k. Very, very easy to make a huge profit. Now, moving on to the next one. We of course have the triple threat heroes, and on the bottom end, we have some 100kers here. Of course, you've got Morientes. Coit, I don't believe is really going to go for much. As you can see, he's 100k there as well. Cole is going to be a bit more. I do think it's a bit poor that they've just used the exact same photos, or that the game is displaying that. Some of them are a little bit out of the question, as you can see. You can obviously go down a route of going for, I mean, looking at it, striker's not really an option. Forward, getting Morientes out there, setting the minimum at 200 would probably work. But we probably just want to go on the baseline of literally popping this to around 100,000, I think is probably the mark. So just below, we've got a few coins here, 66k. Flipping hell. I think the market's doing that thing where it shows up weird again. As you can see, it's not, I don't think it's showing all of the cards. I've noticed that a little bit today. It's not seemingly showing us everything that we should be seeing. So that's a little bit of a difficult one with the sniping, but hopefully we can still get a nice little profit out of it and still, you know, remain above the coin balance of a mil. I'm a little bit under at the minute, but I think we can get ourselves back there. Now, if you want to finish off, you can take yourself over to UCL Road to the Knockouts. And this one, you're going to need a few more coins for. You want to go for Premier League. You're going to be looking at a minimum for these guys of around 400k with Bruno Fernandes, which is pretty crazy. You have Saka on there as well. There's a few players on the Prem version. If you take this off and just have a look at the other leagues we've got, of course, the pool has upgraded and so has Modric. So actually, an easy route there is La Liga. So pop that on, midfielder, La Liga, UCL, and you've got Modric, and of course, you've got the likes of the pool. Now, I actually was going to have both of them in a team a little while ago, decided against it just in case they didn't go through, and you can tell I've regretted that decision ever since, but you won't regret subscribing, so make sure you do that, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.